I'm Stephen Foskett, organizer of Tech Field Day and publisher of Gestalt IT. Over the years, we've met with quite a few companies at Tech Field Day events, and one of them that stands out is Scality. Scality joined us actually for the very first Cloud Field Day event, and again for Cloud Field Day 9 just this year. I'm joined today by Paul Speciale, the Chief Product Officer of Scality. Now, Paul's been somebody that's been involved in all of these presentations, and I thought it would be fun to kind of look back at the past and also see where Scality is going in the future. It's nice to have you here, Paul.
It's really great to be here, Stephen. Thanks for having us.
Paul, as I said, Scality was part of the very first Cloud Field Day event 5 years ago. And over that time, you've presented many times. Can you maybe give us a little bit of background? Who is Scality and what is it that you guys are doing?
Yeah, sure. And I absolutely remember the days 5 years ago that we first participated. But to kind of put a little history on us, we're now 12 years old. The interesting thing about the company is that it started in Europe, actually in Paris, France. And we do maintain our R&D offices there, and we have a big presence there. But the way to think of us now is as a moderate-sized global organization. We're a software company. And what we provide, of course, is the Scality Ring, which is software-defined storage. And we really have a strong customer base, both within the enterprise and within service providers.
Absolutely, and I know that Scality is a major player in the world of scalable storage. But as the name would imply, at Cloud Field Day number 2, y'all introduced something pretty special, the ZENO project.
Yeah, we did. So maybe to put a little bit more context on it. So we introduced our Ring product, which is the software-defined storage solution, back in 2010. And really for the next 5-6 years, it was all about on-premises data centers within these big customers. Starting around 2016, we did start hearing from a lot of our customers that they were super happy with the Ring. They wanted to keep using it, expanding it. But the key question was, how do they use this thing that was coming at them, the public cloud? What they were really thinking of was, how could they integrate data and workflows across on-prem and public cloud? And that's really what led to the idea of ZENO, is something that could solve this management problem of data that needs to live in both places.
Yeah, and I know that ZENO as well has become a valuable tool for the entire industry in terms of allowing the wider use of the S3 cloud storage protocol.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a storage product per se. I think of it as a data management product, but it can sit on top of both our storage solution and third-party storage. That third-party storage can be filers. It can be an NFS filer from a company like NetApp or Isilon. It can also be a public cloud. So what we viewed this was a way to really sort of broaden the market, broaden the value. Ultimately, it's really about the data, right? And that's what matters to customers. So ZENO was a way to do that. And you talked about adoption. Indeed, it's now adopted. It's embedded in some products. For example, it's in the Fujifilm tape archive solution as an embedded solution.
So what prompted you to look to Field Day as the kind of environment that you would want to use to talk about things like ZENO and the Ring and all of these developments that you're making in storage?
Yeah, I think what attracted us, obviously, we've looked at the events, including Storage Field Day, Tech Field Day, but cloud really just resonates these days. Our messaging is all about hybrid cloud. That's what our customers want to discuss with us. What solutions can we provide? We viewed this as one way to start talking about some other key technologies and some values that we're delivering. Things like we're starting to leverage new platforms like Kubernetes and container-based technologies. So that was really a central aspect of this for us. We thought, let's get in front of some of the key influencers that look at this space, people that understand Amazon and VMware. That is really one of the things that attracted us back.
So looking at the most recent Cloud Field Day presentation at Cloud Field Day 9, what were the main messages that you're trying to get across to the audience during that presentation?
There were really 3 things that we wanted to talk about, but the first one is the most important. We've been really working and learning a lot with Kubernetes in the last 3+ years. And that means that we've gained a lot of experience with it. We're starting to build products on top of it. And we really wanted to be part of the dialogue in that world of cloud native and Kubernetes. So that was one of the main motivators. Obviously, that's very intimately related to the products we deliver for the cloud. So the second topic that we wanted to talk about, and we did talk about, was Azure Blob storage and how we've integrated our solutions with Azure. And then the third one was to really provide a demonstration or a proof point. We built a lot of technology for cloud in terms of providing global namespace. So those were the 3 things. Kubernetes as a highlight, our work with Azure, and thirdly, how we've integrated multi-cloud workflows on top of other clouds.
One of the things that companies tell us that they love about Tech Field Day is the feedback that they get from the delegates about their products and their strategies and directions. Paul, what feedback did you get at Cloud Field Day 9, and what are you going to be looking at?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of the value here, right? It's not just us telling the story to these key influencers and the panelists that you bring into Cloud Field Day, but they can also give us this sort of practical advice. So where we may be thinking, AI and ML is the real future, or we're thinking about a certain Kubernetes environment. These are people that are hands-on with the technology. That's really the thing that struck me, by the way. Many of these panelists are hands-on technologists. They can tell us what they're using, the type of tools they're using, the environments they're using, whether it's VMware Tanzu or Red Hat OpenShift. It really gives us practical guidance. And it's something I'll tell you that we take back and really adapt into our roadmap. So tremendous value.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I have to say that the people are the thing that really makes Field Day work for me. Not just the delegates, but also the wonderful people that we meet as presenters. I'm thinking of some of the great folks that we've met over at your offices over the years. And also to watch the companies grow and change, to watch them add new features and new products. Like I said, I'm particularly proud that we were there for the launch of ZENO because it has become such an important thing. And we saw it right at the very beginning. In addition to that, one of the things that the companies say is that they love the feedback that the delegates get them at Field Day. And I think that that's one of the things that you were kind of keying in there, that basically these folks are going to kind of tell you sort of a real perspective on what people are looking for in these products, not just what they particularly see in it, but sort of what the market is looking for. And what is it about Scality, do you think, that the market wants? What do they want for you to do in the future?
Well, I think there's a number of things. Obviously, the last few years have been about enabling this kind of hybrid computing model, especially for data management across on-prem and public clouds. People are really asking for us to make this simpler across the board, right? So more automation in storage management. There's really an adage out there that as the data is growing, and we all know it is, it just gets so complex to manage all this. And there's a skills shortage. So the more we can make things self-managing, self-automating, that's a real value because it lowers their cost. It lowers the cost of administration. I think we're also facing a big transition point in the industry, and that is this transformation into cloud native. It's really starting to happen. We've seen it in the hyperscaler cloud vendors like Google, but now we're seeing it within the enterprise. And I think that's a big opportunity. It's also a big challenge for a lot of storage vendors to bring new storage solutions out that fit into that model. So I think that's kind of the big inflection point that we're looking at.
Absolutely. That's one of the things from our perspective at Gestalt IT. I mean, our focus is on basically practical applications of technology, not just sort of what's cool or what the news is in the industry. It's, how is this stuff going to be used and how is it going to be put into practice in the enterprise? And, for us, that's one reason that we delayed starting Cloud Field Day until that first one that you participated in back in 2016, and why we're now looking at doing other topics like security and artificial intelligence, because we're seeing that those areas as well are maturing and really coming into being in the enterprise, just like cloud did. Also, it's wonderful for me to watch companies kind of grow and change over the years. Where do you expect Scality to be in the future?
Well, I think it's kind of along the lines of what I've talked about now. There's a transformation happening in the enterprise, but there's also a transformation in the data center. So really now we're 10 plus years in. If you look at the technology industry, every 10 years, every 20 years or so, there are these big changes. And I think we're sort of forecasting that. We've been anticipating it. The things that we talked about at Cloud Field Day are really in a planning stage to be ready for that. Things like Kubernetes and cloud native and storage automation and data management. All of these things are kind of coalescing into new products that we're starting to finalize and planning to announce in the coming months. So there is some big news in store for that.
Well, that's wonderful. I'll be watching. I'll always take your call, and I'd love to have a briefing from you. And I'd also love to welcome you guys back to future Field Day events. So thank you very much for joining me today, Paul. It's great to catch up with you, and I look forward to seeing you at Cloud Field Day next time.
It was a pleasure. Thanks as always, Stephen.